Folks, we have a wonderfully funny lady on with us now talking about the new show that's headed into its third season now. It's just started up again, TBS's Sullivan Son. Welcome, Jodi Long. Jodi, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm pretty good. How are you?
Oh, so blessed. It's such a great time on the show, seeing it cranking right along here in its third season. It's just got to be such a great experience to be on. Kind of such a traditional sitcom. It's just so refreshing with all the different kind of shows that are on to have something with the live audience and all that sort of interwoven in there.
Yeah, no, it's we really are blessed this third season, and I come from the theater, so it's actually the closest thing, sort of a mix of all the genres. You know, you've got this sort of television, but it's filmed and it's in front of a studio audience. So when it comes to comedy, it really changes with the audience, and you can never anticipate what that's going to be. So it really makes it very exciting when it's actually happening, and I think that's translating to our viewers too, because we got our third season, and hopefully we'll go on beyond that.
Well, it definitely is. It's just such a crowd-pleasing show. It's hilarious, and we mentioned set in a bar. Rob Long from Cheers is part of that production team, and Steve Byrne's stand-up really kind of helps bring to life, this amalgam that he is of being, half Irish and half Korean. And when they came to you to play this character, were you familiar with Steve's work? Did you kind of know a little bit of what you were getting yourself into?
No, I didn't know Steve's work at all, and so of course I went online like everybody does these days, Googled him, and the first thing I saw was like, oh my God, this guy looks like me. I could be his mother. I was so excited because we kind of both have sort of like the same shaped face. And then I watched his, his stand-up. There were some clips, and I was like, great, this is funny. And then when I read the script, I was like, I know this woman so well. I know this woman so well. So it was really great. And, I had to audition like everybody else. And it was, once I did, it was all so fast, which was great. I mean, Steve responded to me, I responded to him, and it was like 3 days later I was testing in front of the network, so it was great.
We're talking about Sullivan & Son. It airs on TBS. It's Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Jodi plays this just crazy character. I just love her to death, and it's just so much fun to I really have to be honest, I never get enough. I mean, I'm always like, can we have more of Oketcha? I mean, I just want more. I'm really greedy because it's such a unique, there's no other character like her. It's not like, a dime a dozen.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's so funny because you have the same take as Rob Long. Rob Long always says to me, but there's no other character on TV that's like this. And who talks like this, who has this kind of point of view. I mean, she's pretty extreme in her points of view. And, there is this kind of violent, take no prisoners attitude of her. But you're actually going to see a lot more of that this year. And we did one, we shot an episode last night with Margaret Cho, and I don't know if you remember, you're probably not old enough to remember this, but I played Margaret's mom on her sitcom, All American Girl. Wow. So it's great that she's come onto our show, and she, I don't want to give it all away, but let's say that we go toe-to-toe with each other.
Well, Jodi's earning some brownie points with the youthful comment, and I have to be honest, as sad as it is, and I do think IMDb needs to update your page and list Sullivan & Son as your primary reference of work. I do remember you from RoboCop 3, so I've been around a couple of days. So, yeah, I know about the Frank Miller film. I'm well aware of a couple of my geekdom is showing. Let's just be perfectly honest. Our fans know exactly how bad I am. I'm that bad. So.
Well, you just sound very youthful. So I have no idea what you look like, but you sound very youthful with your voice.
I'll send you some photos. Let's cue some really inappropriate music. Well, we mentioned Steve, and Steve just seems so gracious to have this opportunity, right? I mean, so many times you don't hear much of anything, but when we hear so much about Steve, he just seems he's just the stand-up guy who now is doing it as a sitcom. Is that pretty much the best way to describe the show?
It really is. It sounds like you think we're making this up, but no, he is really the nicest guy. And I can't even begin to tell you. Today he actually gave a speech because we're shooting our last episode of the season, and he kind of included everybody about how hard everybody worked, and he turned to me and I guess I'm just going to say this because it really bespeaks really of what you're saying. My mom passed away a few weeks ago, and it was a really hard period. I was running back and forth to New York, where I'm from, and where she was. And I came back and I did the last one of our shows, and Steve couldn't believe that I was actually there. I'm a professional. Yeah, life is what it is, and but I have to do my job. And he talked about it today, and he said, Jodi. She went beyond what people do. And I don't really feel that way that I did that, but he felt that way, and he talked about it, and he started crying today in the meeting. And I looked at him, and I said, Steve, and he was like, I know. He said, but it really moved me, and it just, the commitment, and he was really talking about the commitment that everybody has on the show. Mine was just one little, example of it. But he was right, and he's so sincere when he talks about it, because it's so important to him that we've really become a family. And that's, our family on TV, even though we're outrageous and everything, it really has become a family behind the scenes. And I told him today, I said, you're the son that I always wanted to have.
Wow, it definitely, the family stuff definitely seems like it bleeds through to the audience, and I think that's why folks have connected to it so well. And, you have these incredible scenes with Dan, and of course, Brian Doyle Murray's there with his antics and all that. It just seems like such a great blend of that, and it makes sense because of the parallels to Cheers. It's what Rob's shooting for, of course, but it is really just so well mixed together and blended together, and you're just such a great part of that. And it really has to just be a real, feather in your cap to be able to have something like that, to fall into that perfect character like you mentioned. You feel like you could just, you could be his mom. You feel like you can just step right into that.
Yeah, and his brother actually was, during the pilot, he came up to me and said, Steve showed me your audition tape. And I was like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, well, what do you think? And I watched your audition tape, and I thought, well, she doesn't look like Mom, but she sure acts like Mom.
Well, that's the best compliment you could have.
It really was.
It really was, yeah. Let me, I know we got to make sure we keep our time moving here to get you to your next appointment, and that is I want to give you a chance to talk about this indie film, A Picture of You. Now, I haven't had a chance to see it, so you got to catch me up as much as you got to catch everybody up listening.
Oh, yeah, well, we opened in New York a couple of weeks ago. We got a critics pick from the New York Times, and it was amazing, and a really great review. And so this little film about this brother and sister who go back to close up their mother's house after she's passed away. And I play the mom. And what happens is that as they're going through all her stuff, they find out something that they never, ever, ever expected and about their mom. And that throws them into a complete tailspin and a tizzy. So it's sort of like what you think, oh, God, this is so boring, or this is so depressing that these people are going home to go do all their mother's stuff. Ends up being this sort of madcap little tale of what happens when these people find this out. So it's a really fun little film, and it's beautifully shot, and just for a little independent, barely a bare-bone budget. And I'm really proud of it. I was very proud of the director, writer, J.P. Chan, because, he came to me with this script, and I think it was one of those low-budget indie, movies. And I just really thought the script was great. And I thought, okay, no, I'll do it.
We got to keep our eyes out for that. Yep. A Picture of You, that's called, and we'll keep our eyes out on that. Hopefully it'll get some distribution picked up. At least we're in the Tampa Bay area, maybe down in Miami or something. It'll hopefully screen, and we can maybe get some tickets and send some folks to see that, because that sounds like a really great project.
Yeah, I'm sure they would give you tickets. Absolutely. Hopefully you'll get that. I had no idea you were in Tampa Bay. Okay.
Yeah,
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, you come to Florida, you have to look us up, go out for a nice dinner, and we'll get more of the behind the scenes of some of these great. I got to know, because I didn't know on your resume. Now this one did get by me, but you know what? There's so many episodes. I think I get a little bit of a break here. That you did an appearance on the Cosby Show.
Oh yeah, I was a very young actress. I was a recurring. I played Dr. Cosby, Felicia Rashad's secretary.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'll have to go watch a few episodes there. That one got by.
That was a long time ago.
That was a couple days ago, wasn't it, Jodi? It was a couple days ago.
A couple of days ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
kind of in the RoboCop days.
it may have been or a little bit before, depending on. So what keeps you going? I mean, now you've done so many different things, and the theater work, and doing the the smaller budget things, and the TV. What is it that you still just really love doing and keeps you moving with all this?
Well, I love acting, obviously. I love doing comedy. But I really, even when I'm doing a character, it's really telling a story. And I also, have written my own one-woman show, Surfing DNA. I've written a documentary and that I also produced called Long Story Short, which is about my parents who were vaudevillians and were on the Ed Sullivan Show. And it's really about telling a good story, And I do like to tell stories that are based in truth and obviously the documentary format or the woman show format. But is how do you tell the story? And even if it's like, here's this character, Ocha, how crazy she is, and how do you tell that story, and what do you reveal? And so that's really what turns me on as an actor and as a writer and producer, and, what good tale can we tell? And that's going to be compelling and, have either people laughing or crying. So that's really kind of my raison d'etre, And I get to, luckily, do it in many different arenas.
That's fantastic. Folks, we're telling the tales here of Jodi Long, and you'll catch her on TBS. That's Sullivan and Son. It airs Tuesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 Central, if you're catching us on the podcast or YouTube or whatever. So, Jodi, it's just been such a treat to talk to and get a little bit more insight on the show and some of the other projects that you got going on. We wish you the best.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We'll keep in touch and maybe get a chance to talk to you again.
Okay, super.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.